morning. This is Mike Lodge, the business advisor. Just want you to remember who I was. I know it's early in the morning, but let's get to it, okay? So, for years, for the past probably 3 to 4 years, I have literally been talking almost on a monthly basis about ethics. And the reason why I talk so much about ethics, because in my business several years ago, I had an ethical situation of an employee that pretty much almost destroyed everything that I had built. Luckily, I was able to build it back, but the problem is that when ethics hits you, it's on your mind all the time because of the experience that you live through. And what I'm seeing now is that we have an issue with politics, which is a highly unethical game or entity, if you want to call it that, have come into companies and created an ethical situation. Because politics is not ethical. So when you invite it into your company, you have become an unethical company pretty much. Because your decision-making process changes. This unethical process of politics or social justice or whatever you want to call it changes your mindset of what should be done correctly in your business, because now you've got politics involved, which takes your mind and your mental ability and your planning and everything else off of real business. And we're seeing this so much now. We saw it right now. We're seeing it with Twitter. Twitter has the issues that have become clear as Musk has been doing his due diligence is that the numbers that they represent as fake accounts are much higher than what they thought. Then we saw this morning that the accounts of President Biden, 50% of them is fake accounts. And then we have the financials. The financials have questions now because of the way that they're running their operation. So you see what happens is that you had a whole bunch of employees within the company become so woke and so political that instead of focusing on, okay, what makes money, what generates money for this company, they became, okay, what can we do politically? And then their whole thought process of business ended. We're seeing the same thing happen right now with Disney. Disney has come out with a line of clothing that is designed for LGBT kids. Now, let's all face it. We're a kind of individual where we're able to accept things and do things and go on with life. However, when a company begins to become so woke within inside, and they begin to attack the decision-making process of parents, then we have a problem. That's where a company is becoming politically motivated instead of business motivated. Now, they're going to come out and they're going to say, well, we've made much more money out of this. No. I'm sorry. What you've done is create conflict. Anytime that you invite political, social justice type things into your company, you have created a conflict inside because there are individuals inside the company that don't agree with the senior executives and how they're running it. They don't agree with it. So that's conflict. You have an issue where stockholders, shareholders are not happy with the business operations of what's happening within these companies that become woke. It becomes conflict. Conflict costs companies money every single day. An average individual that works for a woke company spends more than 2 hours a week in conflict, resolving conflict, creating conflict. So when you have this situation where companies are willing to become politically woke, they have lost sight of the business side of their business. And then things begin to change. Well, I'll just change these numbers over here and we'll reflect this over here. But in actuality, they're not doing their due diligence on what is correct reporting. Listen, I'm an accountant and I've seen where companies get off track. I've seen where company executives decide to go in a certain direction and go off track, and then the numbers become corrupt because of bad decision-making practices. Because they go off into another direction which they think that is good for the company, but it's not. Anytime that you create conflict, it's not good for the company. It's not good for the environment inside the company. It's not good for employees because they don't believe, but they can't say anything because they're afraid they will get attacked by other employees or by executives or shunned or bullied. 65% of employees have been touched by political wokeness within their company. This is not the direction that businesses should go. Business is business. Business is where you focus on the products, the services, the development, the community outreach, the community training. You have all of these things that you can do that's positive for your company and make it grow. But once you become involved in politics, or wokeness is what we're calling now, politically, business wokeness is what I call it. You begin to strain, you put a strain on your company. There's not everybody in your company who's going to believe exactly the same way that you believe. They may be a conservative. They may be a liberal. They may be a libertarian. They may be all sorts of different types of people. Remember, I think the good adage was when I was growing up, now, and this is sad because I came from a political family, but we did not talk politics at the dinner table. We did not talk politics at church. We did not talk politics anywhere. But we did talk politics maybe after dinner. We sat around and we were talking and we were joking and everything else. And sometimes we would get into politics. When you come from a political family, you are always thinking politically. And what I have seen is that once a company endorses a political stance, Coca-Cola did it with the Voting Rights Act in Georgia, and it failed miserably because everybody began to attack them because everybody felt that there should be IDs, voter IDs. It hurt Coca-Cola a lot. What's happening with Twitter now? Twitter, no one began to trust them because of their political stance and their censorship. Because they felt that their political agenda was more important than anybody else's. And if you were not on their side, then you were the enemy. Then they began to deal with their clients on Twitter, and we are all clients on Twitter, okay? Because we have to listen, we have to watch, we have to see the advertisements that come across and everything else that come across. We are a consumer of those goods. So they made conflict for the individuals who were advertising on their companies. On their Twitter. That creates conflict because now advertisers are saying, "Well, I don't think I want to really pay that amount." And now with the numbers of how many people are on Twitter being questioned, advertisers are now going to say, "Well, I'm not getting what I'm paid for." So I think that's such a good thing about Musk is that he's questioning those numbers because it brings up the point, have they over-exaggerated their numbers? And listen, I have seen a lot of companies who have over-exaggerated their numbers, but it catches up with you, and it's catching up with them at the moment. But you see, what happened with Twitter is they became so politically woke that they did not focus on what was ethically right to run their business. That was put to the side. The finances were put to the side. The statistical numbers were put to the side. Everything was put to the side because they were all gung-ho on censoring other people's thoughts, other people's views, other people's opinions. Politics is so unethical. If you look what happens in Washington on a daily basis, and all of the lies that are told day in and day out. And it comes from the Democrats, it comes from the Republicans, it comes from the White House, it comes from the wherever else. It's coming from all over the place. Lies are an unethical act of politics. But it's acceptable by a politician, but it's not acceptable by the rest of us out here in business. It's not acceptable. So those companies that allow that unacceptable activity to encroach upon their businesses have a real chance of failure. Because unethical acts create conflict that can fail their company or fail their careers. So we have to watch this very carefully. Every corporation, every small business, at this moment in time, because we have elections coming up and it's going to get dirty all the way through November. But we have got, as businesses, we have got to sit down and review our ethical stance on politics in the office. The rule should be is that no one should be able to come in and promote their political views. If they want to do it outside the office, that's fine. But inside the office, the total focus should be on their job, their responsibility of the company in making the company a profitable and ethical company. That should be their whole focus. Once you allow the politics to come in, that focus goes away. And a new focus comes in, which is an unethical view of the world outside. Ethics is so important. Ethics matters every single day that we get up to go into our offices or go into our home offices. Ethics begins at that very moment. And how we portray the company and how we create conflict and how we resolve conflict is very important to the stability of our company and the profitability of the company. But once you go into that political realm, you're setting yourself up. I'll tell you, on the GOP side, look at what happened to MyPillow, the guy that owns MyPillow. He got so involved in the politics that literally everybody came after him and began attacking them. Same thing happened with Disney. Same thing happened with Twitter. Same thing happened with Facebook. Once you become politically involved, you are going to be under attack. Businesses should never be under attack. Be ethical every single day of your business relationship with your employees and with your clients. Politics is outside the window, outside the door. Shut it, lock it out, because it will create conflict. Listen, if you like my podcast, I would ask that you please go to www.buymeacoffee.com/Michael Lodge and support me there. Read my blogs there. I have lots of blogs on taxation and business and everything else. If you want more access to me, go to my business website, which is www.lodge-co.com. Again, that's www.lodge-co.com. It's all down in the base of my podcast. You'll see it down there on my notes. Let's go out today and let's be ethical. Let's be focused on our business. This is Mike Lodge. I'll talk with you soon. Bye-bye.